Hi, and welcome to day 18 of Living Your Happier Life. So far, we've talked about the foundation of your home for happiness, taking responsibility, and we've talked about the pillar of the mind and the heart and the body and the soul. Well, back up. We haven't talked about the soul. Hi, and welcome to day 18 of Living Your Happier Life. So far, we've talked about the foundation of your home for happiness, and we've talked about the pillar of the mind, the heart, and the body. So today, we're going to focus on the fourth pillar, which is the pillar of the soul. Now, people ask me all the time, what do I think is the most important step for being happy? And my answer is, I actually have two answers. One is, it's whatever one is most important for you. You know, different people have different things. We've talked about what is your Achilles heel. And when you start there, that's when you do that one, it gives you the most progress. But if I were having to answer a universal thing, what's the number one thing that universally is important? I would say it's this: plugging into spirit. And what does plugging into spirit mean? Well, just think for a minute of a time when you felt like life was amazing, it was miraculous. Maybe it was when you were standing at the edge of a waterfall, or you were looking out at the ocean. Maybe it was a moment when the doctors handed you your newborn baby. Or maybe it was when you were gazing in the eyes of a beloved. And for me, it's very often when I'm in nature and I just look out at a beautiful view, being in the redwood trees or gazing up at the night sky when it's filled with stars. We've all had at least a moment when we just went, wow. There's kind of an appreciation that almost feels like awe. And when we're having that kind of an experience, we are connected to an energy that's bigger than ourselves. It's the spiritual energy. And, I know that word has connotations, but I want you to think of it just as the universal energy that connects us to everyone and everything. It's called many different names. It doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it spirit, you can call it higher power or source or nature or God or creative intelligence or anything else. It doesn't matter. It's that energy of the bigger spirit of life that we're all connected to. And when we feel our connection to that, life seems to take on a whole different dimension. It's not just about kind of going through the motions. It becomes where everything feels more sacred. Just even driving to work or having a meal or having a conversation with a friend. When these times, they feel like they're filled more with grace. And that's when we feel deeply connected to the experience of life. So I want to talk over the next 4 days. We're going to be talking about how we can connect in with that. So let's start with a little meditation. We're going to do a chakra meditation. We each have 7 main energy centers, main chakras, and we're going to do a meditation that brings light and color to those different energy centers. So if you would sit comfortably in your chair and close your eyes. And take some nice deep breaths into and out of your heart. And start by imagining high above you a beautiful column of light. And that column of light pours down over your head, down through your neck, your shoulders, your chest and upper back, your torso, your hips, your legs, down to your feet. And it's as though you're sitting in a column of beautiful, bright, white light. It's completely surrounding you. You're filled with this light, and it's all around you. And out of this beautiful, bright white light come all of the colors of the rainbow. And so first imagine the color red is filling up your root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. Imagine the color red filling up the area of your root chakra, grounding you, helping you feel your connection to Mother Earth. And next, imagine the color orange filling up your second chakra, just below your navel, the area of your womb, your creativity center where things are birthed. It's filled with the color orange. And next, bring the color yellow to your solar plexus area, your power center, your third chakra, just around your diaphragm. It's filled with the color orange. And now moving up to your heart center, your fourth chakra. Imagine your heart is filled with the color green. Beautiful emerald green filling your heart, opening up your heart chakra. And moving up to your throat, filling your throat area with the color blue. Beautiful blue filling up your throat, your communication center. Then moving up to your third eye, the area between your eyes, eyebrows. This is your power, your vision center. And imagine that's filled with the color indigo, bringing great vision and clarity. And finally, at the top of your head, your crown chakra. Imagine that it's filled with violet light, the most beautiful violet light. And now bring your attention back to that beautiful column of white light that's filling up your entire body, surrounding you in white light. Your chakras have all been energized, enlivened. And in this energy, you come forward today with your intention for happiness. That you bring your whole heart and soul and being to this process of a happier life. And for this we give thanks, and so it is. And you can take a deep breath in and out of your heart. You can stretch, and when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. We need some deep connection to spirit, and we're hungry for that in our society. There's a quote by Mother Teresa that she said, "There are many people in the world who are dying for a piece of bread, but there are many more who are dying for a little love." She said that the poverty in the West is a different kind of poverty. It's not only a poverty of loneliness, but it's a poverty of spirituality. There's a hunger for love as there is a hunger for God. And that was Mother Teresa. And I have to say that from all of the people that I've interviewed for both Happy for No Reason and Love for No Reason, I would say that the ones who are the most unconditionally happy are those who feel this deep love and a deep connection to spirit. And they feel a sense of feeling of oneness. And these people, they come from all different traditions. They're Christian, they're Jewish, they're Hindu, they're Buddhist, they're Muslim. There are people that don't even subscribe to any formal religion. It doesn't matter. What they all share is a feeling of reverence, of wonder, of gratitude for this really remarkable gift of being alive. And they feel a connection to that bigger energy of themselves. Now, another thing that I noticed about them is that they don't always need to figure out everything. They don't need to be in control. In other words, they live in the flow of life. Earlier we talked about the idea of whether we live in a benevolent universe, and they trust that they live in there's an underlying benevolence and wisdom of the universe. And a lot of people consider that the number one cause of human suffering and unhappiness is feeling a separation from this bigger energy of the universe. And I can tell you that looking back in my own life, it is very clear to me that one of the main reasons that I was unhappy when I was young, part of it was my body. I did not have the happiness chemicals in my body, for sure. But the other part of it was I felt really disconnected from spirit. I felt an existential angst, and I didn't feel connected to life. I knew that there had to be more to life than just what I was seeing. There had to be more to life than going to school, than having meals, than my body, my thoughts. I was hungry for more, but I didn't know where to find it. And my very first experience of what I would call true spirituality came when I was 16 years old. And when I was 16 years old, I went to a transcendental meditation center, and I learned how to meditate. And immediately from that very first meditation, I started to feel an experience of inner peace that I hadn't had before. And I started to feel some relief from that existential angst or that depression that I'd had. And so every morning in high school, I think I was just starting my junior year of high school, and I would get up 20 minutes earlier than I had before that. And I would go we had in my parents' house, my grandfather would stay with us on weekends, and he had this big oversized chair that was perfect for sitting cross-legged in it. And I would go into his room on the weekdays when he wasn't staying there, and I would sit in that chair cross-legged, and I would meditate before going to school. And in the beginning, I had lots of thoughts. I was always wondering, am I doing this right? I must be messing up. I must not be doing this right. But over time, I started to really settle in, and I began more and more to feel that connection to a greater energy than myself. And there have been countless studies that have been done that have shown about this value of meditating, this value of having a spiritual dimension in our lives, that having this spirituality not necessarily affiliated to anything religious, but this internal sense of meaning, of spiritual meaning, that those people who have it are happier than those who don't. And they're happier in every area. They have better marriages, they're more effective as parents, they can better cope with whatever life throws their way. Basically, the bottom line is that spirituality is good for us. It's good for our bodies. And I'm talking about a spirituality that's not just sort of out of the body spirituality, but truly in the body spirituality. And if in the body, really feeling the energy in your body becoming alive and awake. And if you want to go more deeply into that, I can highly recommend to you a dear friend of mine, Sue Morter, Dr. Sue Morter. She has a program called the Energy Codes. She's actually my partner in a program I call the Your Year of Miracles, where we help people live more miraculous lives. And you really can bring this energy into the body through specific practices. And that's what Sue is all about. But I'm going to share some practices with you here over these next days that are going to connect that spiritual side into feeling more in your body. So there are many ways to doing this. It may mean being in silence, may mean meditating, using prayer. There are so many different ways that we can connect into spirit, and there's so many different kinds of meditations. And what I'm going to suggest is that you choose what works for you. And if you don't know of one, you can just focus on your breathing. You can breathe in and out of your heart. I led you through many different practices. You can go back and do any of those practices, the ones that most resonate for you. And so what I recommend that you do is that whatever practice you choose, whatever meditation you choose, that you do it every day, regularly, for at least 10 to 20 minutes a day. And my dear friend Marianne Williamson, I read her great quote at the very beginning of the program. I love this analogy that she uses. She says, we take a shower every morning in order to wash off the dirt from the day before. Well, meditating is the same thing. It's just like washing off the emotional gunk, the emotional spiritual gunk from the day before. So that's one thing. And in tomorrow's session, we're going to actually focus a little bit more on silence and meditation. But I want to share with you right now another way, along with meditating, that you can tap into this energy of spirit. And it's through tapping into your own inner wisdom, where you start to hear messages from the divine. Maybe they're messages, some people call these intuition. A lot of us have spent a lot of time running around trying to ask other people what to do. What should we do with this? What should we do with that? We ask our parents, we ask our teachers, we ask our friends, we ask our dogs, but we actually have wisdom inside ourselves, and we can often get some very reliable answers. So there's a book years ago written by Neale Donald Walsch called Conversations with God, and it was a great book. He wrote about these conversations that he had with spirit, but we all can have conversations with God. It's not just Neale Donald Walsch that can have those. So I want to share with you a process that you can hear messages from the greater energy of the universe. And it's called an inner listening practice. And what you do is you get a piece of paper. You can do this in your happiness guidebook if you want. And you just write a question at the top of the piece of paper. Any question, whatever it is that's on your mind. And then what you do is you do what's called automatic writing. And it has 3 rules. The 3 rules are, number 1, you just keep on writing. You don't stop. You do this for about 5 or 6 minutes, and you just don't stop. The second rule is you don't go back and reread what you've just written until you're completely done. And the third rule is you don't cross off as you're going. You just keep on going even if you've made mistakes. And what that does is it gets you out of your left brain of your mind, your logical, analytical brain, and it moves you into the right brain of your mind. It moves you into the more spiritual, more connected place. And so you're going to write a question at the top of the page. What should I do about my relationship with so-and-so? What's the next thing I should do to make my business succeed? Whatever question is on your mind and in your heart. What can I do to feel better in my body right now? Whatever question you've got, you're going to write that at the top of the page. And then you're going to just start writing. Now, you could put some beautiful music on in the background if you want, but you're just going to start writing. You're going to write for 5 minutes. You're not going to stop and reread as you're going, and you're not going to cross off as you're going. And then when you're done, you go back and you reread what you wrote, and you will be blown away. You will be blown away by the wisdom that comes through. And then the next step would be to take action on what it is you've written, because that's the scary part. Here you just got guidance from a higher, from your higher source, from spirit, and the real key is to act on that guidance. So for your homework today, what I'd like you to do is to do some form of meditation, anything, even if it's just focusing on your breath, breathing in and out through your heart, as we've done during these 30 days of the program. I want you to do that, and then I want you to do this inner listening exercise. Spend 5 minutes of this inner listening and notice what happens. And we'll end today with a quote from Deepak Chopra, who said, "To make the right choices in life, you have to get in touch with your soul. And to do this, you need to experience solitude, because in the silence, you hear the truth and you know the solution." So may you experience some moments of feeling connected, plugged into your soul today. And I'll see you tomorrow.